I'm going to do a couple of videos for you, basically talking about the stuff that we've covered in college already. So talking about how to get a major scale, how to make that major scale, and how to turn that major scale into chords. Now, a couple of disclaimers. First things first, I'm on a very low-tech kind of setup here because I'm in the middle of getting my house ready for mini-me. So I'm literally using pen and paper, and I've plugged my keyboard in, but it sounds pretty ming. Yeah, it sounds pretty horrible, but you'll get an idea, and hopefully this will kind of fill in any gaps. And if you have any kind of questions about it, do please get in touch over Facebook or whatever. But I'll upload this, I'll stick it on the website, and it should hopefully just explain everything that we've done. Okay, so we're going to talk about scales, we're going to talk about chords, and then I'm going to do another video in a second once I finish this one about minor keys and how minor keys work. Okay, I do just want to say this straight off the bat. This is the most taught, the thing that I teach the most, okay? It's the thing that I repeat the most, and it's the fundamental building blocks of all Western music. Any piece of music you've ever heard ever relates to this piece of theory. It's the most useful piece of theory I've ever learned, which is why I'm doing these videos, because it's super important that you guys get your head around it, okay? So, you guys should know this, but I'm going to start right from the beginning and cover the whole bit. Okay, so we're going to talk about scales first of all. Now, a scale is just a set of instructions. It's just a list of notes that we use in a certain order that makes up a pattern. Okay, we talk about the major scale. That's kind of scales 101. If you're going to learn a scale, the major scale is the one to learn. Okay, yes, guitarists, I know you learn things like the minor pentatonic and that kind of stuff, and that's great. But the major scale is Genesis. It's the starting point. Okay, and it sounds like this. Okay. So how do we make that scale? How do we make a major scale? Okay. I'm going to give you a formula, and then I'm going to show you how it works. Okay, I'll show you what goes on. So the formula is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Okay. I'll write it on here. Tone, tone, an S for semitone, tone, 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 and an S for semitone. Okay. That's what it looks like. You guys can read. Excellent. So basically, if you start on a note and you follow that pattern, you are going to get your major scale. Okay? Let's test it out. Instantly, if it sounds like someone's hoovering in the background, it's my laptop dying. Just deal with it. Okay? Start on a C. Okay? We're going to go up each time, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Now, I should hope you know this, but semitone is the next available note, literally the next fret on a guitar, the next key on a keyboard, including black notes. It's just the next step up. A tone is two of those combined, so it's two frets on a guitar and two keys on a piano. Okay. Start on C. We move up a tone, so there's a semitone. We move up a tone, so gives us a D. Move up another tone, gives us an E. Move up a semitone, gives us an F. Move up a tone, gives us a G. A tone gives us an A. A tone gives us a B. And then a semitone gives us a C. So let's play that and we'll get our major scale. Okay. And that works for whatever note you start on. Okay, so let's just pick another one just to see what happens. Okay, let's start on a G. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing. We've got tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Okay. So G, got a tone, gives us A. Got a tone, gives us B. Semitone gives us C. Tone gives us D. Tone gives us E. Tone gives us an F sharp, and the semitone takes us back to G. So you get this. Okay. And that's really the only difference between major scales, is whether there's a sharp or flat in there. In the key G, you get that F sharp, and that's the difference between the C major scale and the G major scale, which is fine. Okay. So we've got tone, 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 tone. That gives us our major scale. So how do we turn these into chords? Okay. A couple of misconceptions that happen at this point. First one is that major scales only have major chords in them. Another one is that minor scales only have minor chords in them. That's not technically correct. In fact, it's not correct at all. Okay, and this will explain why. What we're working out here is what chords we can use within a certain key, which is dictated by our scale. Okay, so for the next 5 minutes, or however long it takes me to finish this video, the only notes in existence are the ones we're using from the major scale we're using. In this case, it's C major. Okay, let's write these down. I've just shown you how to do this, but just so we know: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, so it looks like that. Yep. Start on our C, got the tone, gives us D, tone gives us E, semitone gives us F, tone gives us G, A, B, and semitone takes us back to C. Okay. We're only allowed to use these notes. These are the only notes that exist for me. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a triad, or a chord, a 3-note chord. A triad basically just means a 3-note chord against each of these scale degrees, i.e. each note from our scale. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make major chords every time, and this will hopefully prove the point that I'm making here, that major scales or major keys don't just have major chords in them. Okay. So let's start at the top. Let's take our C. Okay. Now hopefully again you should know how to make up major and minor chords throughout, like 4 semitones and 3 semitones for a major chord, or 3 semitones and 4 semitones for a minor chord. Okay. If you're not sure about that, do message me, but you should hopefully know that by now. Okay. So I'm going to turn them all into major chords. I'm going to go up 4 semitones for our third or our middle note, and then another 3 semitones for our fifth or our final note within our chord. And we're going to see what happens. Okay. So we take our C, we move up 4 semitones, 1, 2, 3, 4, gives us an E. We move up another 3 semitones, gives us a G. Okay. So the notes in a C major chord, C, E, and G. Bosh. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on trial. I'm going to look at these notes here in our chord. There. I'm just going to make sure they appear within our scale. Simple, yeah? We've got C, yep, that appears, that's there. We've got E, yep, that's there. That kind of goes over here somewhere. I'll make a terrible weatherman. And then the G here is there. Yeah. So all 3 of those notes work within our scale. So we can use C major. C major is an okay chord to use. Okay? It's no real surprise that in the key of C major, our first chord, our tonic chord, if you want to call it that, or a chord 1, is C major. Totally makes sense. Okay, so C major is our chord number 1. Okay, and it's a major chord, so we write Roman numeral number 1. I'm going to do a whole video on why we use Roman numerals, so don't worry too much about that for now. But just take it as read for now. Roman numeral capital 1, capital I actually, and it's a major chord, so a big M. So let's do the same thing for the D. Okay, let's make a D major chord and see what happens. Okay, start on my D, move up 4 semitones, 1, 2, 3, 4. That gives us an F sharp. We've got 3. That gives us an A. Okay, so the notes in a D major chord are D, F sharp, and A. Okay, and let's do the same thing. Let's put it on trial. So D, yep, D appears. Yep, that's absolutely fine. The A, where am I? Yep, that's there. That's totally fine as well. But we've got this F sharp. We can't use that F sharp. It doesn't appear within our scale. So we can't use it. What we have to do is use the available F. Okay, the available F in our scale is F natural. So we take that F sharp and we make it an F natural. We basically flatten it by 1. Hooray. If we take a major chord, we take that middle note and we flatten it by a semitone, which is what we've basically just done now. Play those together, you get a minor chord. It's a minor chord. Okay, so chord number 2 is a minor chord, and I do that with a Roman numeral lowercase 2 or 2 little i's and a lowercase m to show that it's minor. Okay. We follow that same process all the way through our scale. Okay, so I'm going to do this quite quickly because, again, we've covered this and hopefully you get the idea. But let's take an E major. Okay, take on our E, count up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, gives us G sharp. Count up 3 gives us B. Okay, E, G sharp, B. Hopefully you're seeing what's going to happen here. We can't use that G sharp because it doesn't appear within our scale. We have to use the available G, which is a G natural, so that E major becomes an E minor chord. So again, lowercase 3, lowercase m. Brilliant. Keep going, let's take an F. So let's do it there, okay? Count up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 gives us an A, count up 3 gives us a C, F major, F, A, C. All of those appear, F, A, C, appear within our key. So we can use an F major chord, that's happy, that's absolutely fine. So we get an uppercase 4 and a big M. Brilliant, okay? Keep going, G major, 1, 2, 3, 4, G to 4 semitones gives us a B, 1, 2, 3 gives us a D, G, B, and D, totally fine, all work, so we can have a major chord as our chord 5. Big importance on chord 5, much more on that later. Just continue. We get to our chord 6. Now an A major chord, if we use our 4 and our 3, gives us A, C sharp, and E. Can't use that C sharp, have to flatten it to make a C. A, C, and E makes an A minor chord. So our chord 6 is minor. Yeah. Now we get to chord number 7. Okay. When I explained this, guys, to you the first time, I totally just ignored the diminished chord because we hadn't done chord types yet. But I'm going to tell you now, chord 7 is always a diminished chord. Okay. I'll explain why, and we'll see the pattern. Okay. So let's take our B major. Okay. Start on a B. We count up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 gives us a D sharp. We count up a 3, gives us an F sharp. Okay. So now we're in a bit of a predicament because 2 of the notes of our chord, namely the D sharp here and the F sharp here, don't appear within our key. Okay, so we have to flatten both of them. If you take a major chord, and you flatten that middle one, what we call our 3rd, flatten that, we get a minor chord. But we've also got to flatten this one, the 5th. So we get this. Real nasty sounding chord, yeah? On its own, sounds a bit ming. Used correctly, a very powerful tool in your music arsenal, okay? So don't be afraid to use this diminished chord, just know that it'll sound crunchy when you do. Okay? And it resolves very nicely back to our chord 1. If I play a diminished chord, if I go... it resolves very nicely to our C, particularly if you play it properly, which I just didn't do. So, we flatten both of those, gives us a diminished chord, okay? You can... I should be able to circle that dot. What I've done there is on our chord 7, where are you? There you are. I put a little circle after it. That just denotes that it's a diminished chord. If you just see a lowercase 7, assume it's a diminished chord, but for the sake of good practice, write a little circle after it. And this gives us our pattern. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Screw it again. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. And that's the formula. That's how you find out what chords are in your key, okay? So we've gone through a whole process here. Let's just recap what we've done. We've made a scale, starting on one note and following our tone, 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 semitone. And what we've done is we've turned those into chords, found out which chords we can use. And again, this works for any key you like, okay? So that major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished thing will work for any key. We take our major scale, we apply this, and we get our chords. So in the key of C, we get C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and then we're back up to C major. Okay? And you can use those chords in any order, at any time, and they will always work together because they work in the same key and they will just sound nice together. Okay? Yes, good songwriters move out of key, they modulate, they change key, they mess around with these rules. That's fine, that's good songwriting. But in order to do that, you need to understand these fundamentals. Okay? And again, it works for any key we use. So we had a look at G major earlier. Let's just see if the same thing applies to that. Okay? So we took our G major, which I know I've written C here, but it was G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Okay? Let's apply this, so it would be G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished. Okay. Let's see if that works. So we get G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished, there it is, and then G. Okay. I mean, again, we can use those chords in any order, and that will totally work. Hopefully all of that makes sense. It's quite a lengthy process. Really, all you need to remember is the tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone for our major scale. And our major, minor, major, major, minor, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor diminished for our chords, okay? There's often a bit of confusion between these two things. If you're talking about tones and semitones, it's a scale. You can't have a major or minor scale degree yet. We'll get onto that, but when you're talking about single notes, they really can't be major or minor notes because there's no harmony going on there. If you're talking about major and minor, i.e. major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, we're talking about chords. Okay, so tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone for your scale, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished for your chords. That will always work every key, every single time. Hopefully this makes sense. If it doesn't, get in contact. I'm on Facebook, or use the email, whatever you're poisonous with that. But hopefully that all kind of makes sense. I'm just going to press stop on this, I'm going to press start again, I'm going to do the same thing in minor keys. Okay, so if you found this was really easy and you kind of get it, go on to the minor keys one. If not, either ask me or watch this video again and hopefully it'll fill in the gaps.